you're 2017.
Yeah,
Your way is the mist is lifting again,
yeah,
and what
yeah.
happens?
So I met Craig from this fund. There are about 18 people there at this conference. I got to hear him. I said, I've been looking for guys like you for a long time. And he heard my story, which I shared our time in Ecuador, these two companies going through this valley. He says, my goodness, we need people like you in North Africa. We need to start businesses amongst unreached people groups. And it's startup. And I thought, oh my goodness, North Africa. I've never thought about that. My wife's Colombian. We're Spanish speakers. We thought we'll go to Latin America. But after about a month of thinking about it, we said, Latin America's got a lot of issues, but they can reach themselves
Hmm.
spiritually.
Hmm.
If God can use us to reach people who have little to no access to the gospel, let's do it. So we set off down that course, and you get connected to mission agencies, and we tried a couple. Went down the road with one in 18, and we thought we'd go out with them to Morocco. They wanted us to start in Morocco, and we said okay, and did that. And about mid 19, we realized, hey, I'm not an operator. I'm getting on the older end. It's a young man's game in many ways. From a long-term operator, we have a big role to play in coaching, mentoring,
Hmm.
capital. And I called them back and said, hey, we can hit the ground running in Spain. We've got language, we've got culture, and we could go there and train some of these young operators coming to the field. And we're empty nesters at this point. We have two children. Sorry, we have a daughter and a son. Daughter who's 28 now, son's 25, and I just became grandparents 7 months ago. But at that time, we had just become empty nesters, and we said, hey, we can go in for 3 months at a time and help stand these businesses up. And it was met with, wow, that sounds amazing, but we're not set up to do that. And I thought, wow, okay. So we said no to that agency. We tried another agency in 2020. And in the end, that didn't work out. And we said, you know what? We're back to square one. We've tried it. There's great local churches in Spain. They're small, but strong. We have language. We can just go out as missional expats, self-funded expats. So fast forward to 21, we had a final liquidity event at the healthcare technology firm that we had sold in 17, but it was a stock private company, and they had a liquidity event. So we got our last liquidity, and that gave us the funds to go out for 3 to 5 years, self-funded. And so that's what we did. We got our visas. We went out in July of 21 to Malaga. Not much of a business plan other than we want to identify, equip, and resource missional operators. And so we moved to Malaga, Spain, where there was a big, I guess you call it a missionary community. And what I found out, these are more the member care communities like Chiang Mai.
Hmm. Hmm.
Great, great people, great hearts, great friends, but night and day from what we were trying to do. So we were there for about 3.5 years, and we have just moved back a month ago to Greenville, South Carolina.
And from here, you will continue to serve the world. So those of you who haven't met Dirk in person, I mean, he's not going to sit in Greenville and clip coupons. He's going to be on a plane. He is going to be out there making things happen. Dirk, so in the middle of this, you already run into and started working a little bit with Integra Ventures, and as you and I have talked, I mean, when I started working in Kyrgyzstan back in the early '90s, it wasn't long. I want to say about '97, we started hearing about this organization called Integra Ventures that was really doing it right, in my opinion. So you come across and you're working with them a little bit. How did you end up becoming now? You're the executive director in the midst of all of your other things. You're the executive director. Tell us a little bit about Integra Ventures. What makes that organization powerful and unique?
So Integra started in 95 in Wheaton, Illinois. It was spun out of a traditional mission agency, International Teams, which is now called One Collective. And it was spun out as a fully focused BAM organization. It had its golden years, probably 95 to 2010. And it was focused on the former Soviet Union. So
Hmm.
Eastern Europe, the stands, and they started early on doing business training. Then they did small loans, large loans, then moved to equity deals. And I met them in '05 and co-invested in '08, joined their board. And in 2010, they lost their director. He wasn't the right fit, incredible guy, but wasn't the right fit for a BAM. As I tell people, if you're going to run a BAM organization, that has a fund or is making investments, you need to have started a business, sold a business, been in some kind of mergers and acquisition. You can't be really a traditional missionary that hasn't done something like that, in my
Yeah.
opinion. So we ran the organization. It was dormant for about 12 years as a voluntary board of directors. Several guys from the Lions Den Birmingham are on the board. And, we did some good things. We're strong in Albania, Bulgaria, and Romania. We had long-term investments there. And, I was on the board. I was still a major investment in the medical venture in Bulgaria. And fast forward, I was the one always saying, hey, we've had our golden years. It's time to shut down. There's a lot of great BAM organizations and BAM movements coming. We played our role. And when it's somebody's baby, they don't want to give up on it. And so we kept it going. And in 23, while we were in Spain, I was pushing on lots of doors here, trying to figure out my fit. And we were down in Ghana, West Africa, in June of 23. And again, I had been real involved in transformational SME, became investors in 2017. My wife just rolled off the board. She was on the board for 3 years, and I'm still on the investment committee for them. So that was really what we'd call our virtual community, but still trying to push on doors. And, came across a missional operator who was a medical professional and had a vision to start a medical school in northern Ghana and to train missional medical professionals who could go up into the Sahel region. I heard that and I said, I like it. Flying back, realized this is a nonprofit raise to raise the money for the medical school. Nobody cares if it's ABC or XYZ nonprofit in the US. We needed to get off being self-funded. And I said, well, goodness, I could take over Integra Ventures and raise the capital through there. That was really pretty much how that came about. Called my fellow board members. They said, let's do it. We wrote an MOU. And I took over January 1st, but with the vision to equip, to identify, equip, and resource missional operators like this individual in Ghana, and expand out of Eastern Europe into what we'd call more frontier markets like Albania, the Balkans, North Africa, West Africa, Middle East, Turkey. So that was the genesis in early 24, and it was really good. I think it fit me much better. I think there were a lot of folks in my network who said, Dirk, we'd love to get involved with you, but you've got this little LLC from South Carolina and Spain. We don't really know how to connect with you. And again, I've been a real, self-reliant kind of lone ranger in many ways, looking to collaborate, always want to collaborate, but obviously have a very clear calling. And it was last summer, I think, when the Lord made it real clear, hey, we need to bring the U.S. economy much closer to these frontier markets. And so we began at Integra looking at actually buying private companies in the U.S., this whole ETA movement, entrepreneurship through acquisition. About 3 or 4 partners here, angel investors. And we began to think about, hey, let's buy companies here that have products and technology that we could take to the frontier markets. We went down that road last summer, last fall, and, it's a pretty crowded space, a lot of people trying to do that. And then we began to think about, well, wait a minute, what if we brought talent, services from frontier markets into the U.S.? And that's what's led to what I'm going to launch here with a partner from Houston starting May 1st.